Welcome back everyone to the Bionicle Inspiration series. This is the show where we like to discuss Bionicle MOCs from across the LEGO community to inspire you. And today we're going to be looking at a ton of fan-submitted Bionicle creations. These are ones that have been sent in by you. If you'd like to see how to submit your MOCs to the show, be sure to stay tuned to the very end of the episode and I'll explain how to do so if you're not familiar with how. But let's dive in and take a look at your creations. Our first MOC today is by Bionic Forge and this is called KARZAHNI the Mad Titan. Dude, this is so clean and so well done. This whole chest design is brilliant, and I mean, look at these shoulders, using two of these dark green headpieces that came on the sea serpent seen in the incredible Viking set that you're seeing here. This is one of those pieces that is not a Bionicle piece, because it came in a system set, but it fits so perfectly with other Bionicle pieces, it may as well be one. And yeah, using it here for shoulder armor, that looks magnificent. The spikes all over it as well, it works very nicely in conjunction with KARZAHNI's mask. Which, by the way, is a custom mask, because this one looks a little bit closer to how KARZAHNI looks in the comics. Of course, we did have an official Bionicle set of KARZAHNI, but this one looked a little bit different because this is how he looked underwater, with mutation and all sorts of other stuff going on. But yeah man, it's rad to see this mask come to life. This belt design is fantastic, using lots of these tread pieces in a nougat color, and allowing them to craft waist armor like this, simply stunning. The inclusion of a dark green Ogrim mask here is a very nice detail. Ogrim's mask is pretty cool because it's one of the thinnest Bionicle masks that we have. Or rather, a Hero Factory mask, but you get the idea. Because that's the thing, right? If you put a normal Bionicle mask on the waist here, it would stick out far too much, and it would start to look more like an additional head, rather than just like ornate decoration on this belt. So you really had to use this mask, there wasn't much else you could do, and hot dang does it look good. So does this leg design. Look at all these silver and light bluish grey pieces. This like heavy robotic detail down here is unexpected but beautiful. And check out this chain weapon as well, using a lot of these gunmetal macaroni pieces, linking them together and then linking the individual links together, and you get a very realistic, very cool looking chain. Masterfully done. You know, this might just be my favorite KARZAHNI MOC that I've ever seen. So much good stuff being packed into this build. Up next, Arty Quill has made a MOC called Toa Vahi, the Toa of Time. Ah, so freaking cool. Seeing the Mask of Time being used for an actual character, that's the coolest mask ever, so I just love seeing bodies for it. And then coupling it with these two gold weapon pieces, the ones that came on this Glatorian set, that just looks lovely. The custom hood and the custom cape, those are brilliant additions. The way that it flows over their head and rests along the shoulders, it gives them a nice sort of like aged traveler kind of look. There's something about it that feels so appropriate for a Toa of Time. And I think the same thing could be said for this body design. It reminds me of the Makuta robot that we see in the Bionicle story. The look of that robot, it has such incredible power to it. It looks so old, and it's right in the vein of classic Bionicle. And I think all of those aspects and all of those qualities have been distilled into this build. The colors, the shape of it, it's all very, very similar. I just love this aesthetic, the age, the power of it. It's so appropriate for a Toa of Time. Round Bear 8 is the next builder for today, and they have a MOC that's called Corrupted Stormer. So the person who made this, they had this idea that Stormer got infected by some kind of robotic parasite virus, and they've turned Stormer into its host. That's a fun concept for a MOC. You know, I love that as we move through different images here of this creation, you can see that the head can be swapped out for Stormer's mask, or swapped the other way for the virus's face. That's a fun little feature. The asymmetry here is also really cool. One side, we've got a nice white arm. That's of course Stormer's original arm. Then the other side has a much larger hand and a more menacing looking arm design. Stuff like that's cool. You can see what Stormer's body originally looked like, and you can see how it's being transformed on the other side. Perfect way to use asymmetry. And if this was an actual set, I can totally imagine the story. It would be pretty similar to like the Hordika storyline from Bionicle, but you know, half of the Hero Factory team gets infected by these viruses, and the other half of the team, they're good, but they have to travel to another planet, find the cure, take it back in time before their teammates get totally corrupted. It's a cool concept. Nate Karan has a MOC here that's called Valkner, Toa of Residual Energies. Look at this cool blade! I love seeing this piece being used on Bionicle MOCs. This originally came on this Ninjago set here. It also appeared in a few other different colors in some other sets within this wave. But that's similar to the headpiece that we were talking about at the start of the episode. It's not, strictly speaking, a Bionicle piece, but it works so well on Bionicle creations. And check out how it's been paired with some of these wires. It really does look like energy is being pumped from this backpack on the back of the MOC through these wires and into this blade, giving it some sort of, electrical properties or powering it up and making it even stronger. There's also a couple inclusions of some sand blue pieces on this MOC. Sand blue is a somewhat rare color these days, even for Bionicle pieces. So anytime it's included, oh, it always makes me happy. I love that color. And I love this MOC. It's great to see them in some nice action poses. It's a really fun build. Makuta the Green-Headed Muscle Man by NECA386591 is our next fan-submitted MOC today. And like the name suggests, this dude is a bulky powerhouse character with armored shoulders and a strong buff chest. Now we got a few images here showcasing what this MOC looks like underneath with no armor on at all. We get a nice cheeky peek at the frame. It's interesting to see how thin some of these limbs are. The armor itself is actually doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. It makes them look strong and muscular, but underneath, not so much. It's nice to know that you don't always have to have all sorts of crazy internal workings going on underneath. It can be relatively hollow, but still look pretty cool. Now it's time for Barbator, Toa of Air by Doom District. The description for this character describes this MOC as a character that was nearly fatally wounded in a battle, and so their Toa body had to be specifically augmented to combat the Makuta that wounded them. That's a sick idea. Seeing all the silver limbs where things have been replaced, or augmented like they said. That's a really nice way to divide up some of these colors, and it makes it really clear where he's had these upgrades. But take a cheeky peek at these green shoulders. See how they're using the foot pieces that come on Kongu and Nika? Now these pieces had a lovely color to them where it was dark green marbled with silver. And is that not the coolest idea to include that piece here? It looks like these shoulders were really heavily damaged, so it's been laced with all sorts of silver metallic robotic upgrades. It's such a fun way to continue that prosthetic limb replacement idea. This MOC's weapon is also brilliant, the two different colored translucent beams, and then an Okama Metru weapon piece on the tail end there. Such a good design, I love how this looks. Kraken is the name of our next MOC, and this was built by Kradax. Let's start off with talking about this awesome weapon. They look sick holding it, but if we take it away, see how it's using one of these Black Knight's Kingdom swords at the very top, and then this whole hilt design, putting a bunch of these dinosaur tail pieces in black there, making it look like it's just covered in spikes. That's such a distinct and really unique design. Perfect for a villain character. Then looking at other angles of this character, they have a lovely silhouette to them. The digitigrade leg designs, the gold weapons flaring out of their back. They just look cool. And the way that the armor slopes to the sides on this torso design, there's so much here to love. Plus that beautiful Kraken mask mixed in with a bunch of pearl gold, simply stunning. And finally, the Maestro has a MOC for us today called YOLO Hot Chicken. Strange name, but alright. So see how he's used some of these olive green wheel pieces. In olive green, these specifically appear in this Chima set. But in this context, they look so good for a jaw design. And then seeing the tongue poking out and this big tree growing out of the top of the head, so cool. And then all the inclusions of different plant pieces. You know, down below here we can see a lot of them. Specifically some of these bright green stem pieces. We can see a couple of them on the feet, but there's also a few of them being used for the fingers. That's such a clever and creative way to make a nice finger design. So hey, if you're building a Toa of jungle or plant life, or just some sort of character that's heavily associated with plants, maybe give them a finger design like that. So clever. So that's it for today's episode, guys. If you want to see your MOCs on the next fan-submitted MOCs episode, or any episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series, you can submit it to the submission email that's on your screen right now. Additionally, check the links in the description below to see more from the builders that I showcased today, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, happy building, and bye for now.